Hey everybody. Well, today is a special week, especially for those who are parents of young kids. It is back to school week. Now, whether you have sent your kids off to school or they're homeschooled or they're doing their education online, we cannot forget that while a lot of learning happens in school, a big chunk of our kids' education and upbringing and growing up comes from their life and the life that they see at home. Teachers are able to educate and train up our children, but they cannot parent them. The brunt of our children's upbringing comes from us, the parents, and from those they interact and live life with. Now, I've heard of the fear that God is being taken out of the schools, that things like prayer or Bible study groups or even the Gideons not being able to come in and gift the grade fives with the read New Testaments, that is becoming harder and harder or more challenging to bring God into public spaces. And it's becoming more or less absent in schools. But with that said, as much as we express concern about prayer or God not being in school, are we as or more concerned that there may be no prayer or even God in the home? As little as we see God spoken about in school, we also have to be aware and be vigilant in making sure that we do not speak little of God in our homes. Our children, our spouses, our neighbors, all of us need to learn about God. And we learn about God from those around us. Children especially, if they do not see the power of God at home, then how can we have any hope that they will grow to understand or value God as they grow up? If God is not a priority in our lives, if it is not a priority in the home and in the life of the home, then we can't ask for it, or we cannot ask for God to be valued or important in our children's lives, especially as they grow up. I see this all around us. Kids are told, go to church or go to Sunday school to be instilled with good values and Christian upbringing. But as they grow up, they begin to reflect their parents' attitude towards church. If their parents don't see the value of spending time with God or don't see the importance of attending church, and if it's low on their list of priorities, that as the kids grow up, it becomes low on their priorities. We're told in Deuteronomy 6 that we are to love the Lord our God with all of our heart, with all of our soul, with all of our strength. But it also continues saying, these commands I give you today are to be upon your hearts and impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home or when you walk along the road or when you lie down and when you get up. It's not just come to church for an hour, but it's live out your faith and love for God. There was one pastor that I read that explains that the message, the truth, the life must be yours. You must have it in your life before you can ever hope to pass it on to the kids. Because if we are not living it out, then all we're really doing is dispensing rules and regulations of religion, which this pastor I read says can often lead then to rebellion. That if our faith amounts to just a bunch of do's and don'ts or behaviors and dress codes, our kids grow up and say, you can keep all of that, because they don't see the transformation and value in the home, in the lives of those around them. We have to be role models to those around us, showing them how to take the lessons of life, lessons in school and lessons in church, and make it a reality, make it a part of our life. If we don't do that, if our kids don't see it used, if our neighbors don't see it used, Do they understand the importance and value of knowing it? Proverbs 22:6 says, "Train a child in the way they should go, and when they are old, they will not turn from it." Train yourself and those who God has blessed you to be around to teach and disciple, your children being the most important of them. This means being a follower of Christ yourself. Be involved in your kids' education and the upbringing of your children, whether it's in school or it's in Sunday school. Guide, encourage, and be there to support your children as they develop into men and women that God created them to be. Let us live out our faith and welcome those around us, our children, our grandchildren, our nieces, our nephews especially, to come alongside and live out their faith as well. Let's be good role models to them and recognize the responsibility and the joy in that responsibility that God has given us to disciple the next generation, to disciple our children. Let's take an interest in their lives and show them what it means to be followers of Christ. God bless. Take care.